Commander, September was a controversial month in Marvel Strike Force. We saw what I'll call a Decimal Jeff special, a massive screw up where players were refunded golden training materials way above intended levels. This led to a calendar giving the entire community training materials and gold to make up for this. But here's the real question. Did that actually shift the overall economy of Marvel Strike Force? Or was it just noise in the system? Let's break it down.
Just luck, it's the plan you see, how we build positively.
But before we dive into the numbers, I always want to come back to the heart of build positively. This is your game, it is your rules. The purpose of this series is to help you keep up with the Marvel Strike Force meta and stay ready to build the newest characters and teams that get released. But let me be very clear, this isn't me telling you not to build Spider-Man, Thor, or whoever your favourite superhero is. If that's where you find joy, then absolutely go for it. At the end of the day, this is your game. The only thing to keep in mind is that Marvel Strike Force is a resource management game. Every orb you open, every gold spent, every trainer material used, they all have an opportunity cost. So if you pour resources into a character you love, that just means you may have fewer to spend on the newest meta release. And from a competitive standpoint, that could put you a little behind. And that's okay, as long as you're making those choices with eyes open. That's why Build Positively exists, to give you the data and the plan so you can decide what's worth it for you. And that brings us to the practical side of things. Because if Marvel Strike Force is a resource management game, then the first step in managing resources is actually knowing what comes in every month. That's where my tracking comes in. Every piece of gold, every trainer material, every power core, and every T4 adds up. And by looking back at September's totals, we can see exactly how much fuel we had for roster growth and start planning how to spend smarter in October. So let's break down what the economy actually gave us last month. Quick reminder, links to all the spreadsheets I use are in the description below if you want to dive deeper. First up is Antimatter, the chapter currency. And in August, since Antimatter launched partway through the month, we tracked 2,677,200 Antimatter across 28 days. That worked out to be about 95,614 Antimatter per day. That would allow you to buy almost 3 G20 slots daily, or nearly 8 character shard slots every single day. September gave us a very similar total at 2,657,445 antimatter, but this time we were over the full 30-day month. That brought our daily average down to 88,528 per day. So the total feels about the same, but the safe spending amount is a little lower when you spread it out across the whole month. Now, I do want to note that both August and September's totals are probably light by about 3,000 to 6,000 antimatter, since I missed the Red Star Blitz and Premium Orb Blitz on a couple of Sundays during these 2 months. If you were on top of your dailies, you probably ended up slightly higher than my numbers show. Now let's break down gold, the lifeblood of Marvel Strike Force's economy. In May, we bought 255,621,260 gold into our account, averaging 8.2 million gold per day. June was even better with 295 million gold, or almost 9.8 million gold per day. July did dip hard, 243 million gold, dropping us to just 7.8 million gold per day. But August did rebound, 272 million gold, averaging that 8.7 million per day. But then we come to September, and at first glance, it looked pretty strong. 264,338,410 gold, which should have given us 8.8 million gold per day. But here's the catch, those totals were inflated by that Secret Warrior fiasco, where we had a calendar that was given to us, giving out 65 million gold to each player. So if we strip that away, September's true income drops to 199 million gold, or just 6.6 million gold per day. That's not only the lowest of the year, it's alarmingly low, especially when you remember September brought us 2 new team releases, the Insidious 6 and the Secret Warriors. It almost feels like the screw up ended up costing us gold income from other events. And next up are training materials, and these are one of the hardest choke points in the game. Now in August we earned 237 million golds worth of training materials, which is enough to fully level 7.16 characters. And in September, the raw number looked normal, 247,169,000 golds worth of training materials, enough for 7.44 characters. But once we strip out the 6,500 L4 training modules from that error calendar, which is about 65 million gold, the true total drops to 181,169,000 gold, which is just enough for 5.46 characters. And zooming out makes it even worse. July gave us 243 million, June 315 million, May 279 million. Compared to those, September's adjusted 181 million is brutally low. And again, this happened in a month where 2 new teams launched. Next up are T4s. This is our ability materials. And for those of you who remember last month's build positively, August gave us a whopping 5,528 T4s. And at first, September's total of 4,019 T4s actually looked bad compared to August. But looking back, September is actually normal. It was August that was unusually generous. So credit where credit is due, kudos to Scopely for giving us extra in August. Now let's just hope they don't decide to balance it out by taking something away in October. It costs 840 T4s to fully upgrade a character, and with 4,019 T4s in September, that's enough for 4.78 characters, which is just under a full team. However, given it was a 2-team release month, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But compared to gold and training materials, T4 income feels relatively stable. Finally, let's talk about power cores, one of the most important currencies in the game. Cores let you buy extra campaign energy, which fuels your gold and training material farming. They also let you unlock new characters free to play about 2 weeks before they hit the chapter currency store, and at least 30 days before a free-to-play event. Now in September, you'll see I bought in 21,055 power cores, but that's heavily influenced by the fact that I stay in the top 10 of my arena shard daily, bringing in 500 cores every single day just from arena. So if you're going to take nothing else away from here, it's this. Staying competitive in arena, it's not about the bragging rights. It's about securing the power cores that is going to fuel every other part of your account. So that covers the resources, how much fuel we had to work with, but the other half of the equation is just as important. What characters are being released and when? And looking at September's schedule, we have had 2 reworks in Doctor Strange Heartless and Elsa Bloodstone. And on top of that, we're going to have 4 new characters arriving. Damon Hellstrom, Hellcat, Living Mummy forming the Brimstone team, plus we're going to have Zombie Kestrel joining our Undying ranks. That's 2 reworks and 4 new releases just in 1 month. Now I do like to track the character cadence, and the cadence has settled into a bit of a pattern. Paid or power core unlocks are sitting steady at 10 days between characters. Free-to-play release events are also steady at roughly every 22 days. And on average, we're waiting about 26 days from a paid release to a free-to-play path. That sort of consistency helps us project ahead, but also shows how tightly resources are being squeezed. Now, I have been testing a theory that we essentially earn the resources to build characters 1 month in advance, and that lined up perfectly until September. we only had enough to fully level 5.46 characters. But as we can see, the release schedule is demanding 6. That's another reason September hurt so much. This shortfall wasn't just a number, it's the difference between keeping up with the meta or falling behind. So now let's talk about strategy. This is where the 3 key words come in: think, plan, and manage. Strategy isn't about guessing perfectly in advance. It's about having a framework that helps you adapt when the economy shifts or when the release cadence pushes you harder than expected. To explain why this matters, imagine, if you will, being in this lovely car showroom here and buying one of these brand new cars. The second you drive it off that forecourt, it is going to start to depreciate. Its value begins to drop immediately. And Marvel Strike Force works the same way. The moment a new character or team arrives in the game, their usefulness starts to depreciate. That's why it's so important to build new characters quickly once you unlock them. Waiting too long is going to reduce their competitive value and makes it harder to keep up with the meta. And that brings us to my current 10-day plan. Whenever a new character drops, I am immediately looking to take them straight to level 105. And then on the days where I have no new character being leveled, I focus on bringing my post-Ares non-105 characters up to level 103 or level 105. It's a balanced approach to help me keep the new hotness relevant and strengthen my roster in between. But here's where we had a problem. The math from September shows this plan may not be sustainable. With an average of 6.6 million gold per day to spend, that works out to about 66 million per 10-day cycle. And as we can see here, my plan requires 72 million every 10 days. So in September, we came up short. And if that wasn't just a blip, then this is a warning that we'll need to change the strategy going forwards. Now, in September, my plan was ambitious. As you can see, I was looking to build 3 characters in Rachel Summers, Shocker, and Sebastian Shaw from level 1 to level 105. On top of that, I planned to take Miss Marvel Classic, Medusa, Wasp, Ironheart, Hela, Zombie Juggernaut, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Zombie Iron Man, Ares, and Vulture from level 100 to level 105. Now, altogether, that plan would have cost me 201,421,520 golds worth of training materials. But as the month went on, I decided to make some adjustments. Firstly, I've been having an absolute blast playing Cosmic Crucible, so I wanted to shore up some of those post-Ares stat teams for that mode. Secondly, I remember back to last year around the time that Zombie Scarlet Witch was released. We had an event that gave points for building the rest of the Undying team. And with Zombie Kestrel dropping this October, there's a good chance we'll see something similar. So I pushed my Undying upgrades into October to maximise their value. Finally, I pulled Wasp and Ironheart off the list. Honestly, I'm not using them anywhere right now, so putting extra resources into them would just leave them parked on the bench. So what did I actually build? Well, we still took Rachel Summers, Shocker, and Sebastian Shaw up as promised, but I also added Scorpion, the new member of the Insidious 6, and this helped me in some of the events during this month. On top of that, I also leveled the following characters to 105: Kahori, Miss Marvel Classic, Medusa, Vulture, The Leader, Iron Patriot, Super Skrull, Namor, Captain Britain, Hank Pym, Black Panther Shuri, and finally, Ares. That was a huge month. In total, I spent 249,824,720 golds worth of training materials. Thanks to hoarded resources from previous months, I was able to afford it, but now my reserves are looking thin. Only 119 million golds worth of training materials are left, and with just 82 million gold in the bank, it's not exactly where I'd like to be heading into October. Now, before we move into October's plan, it's time for a little Howard the Duck wisdom. And this month's quote comes from Seth Godin. One key to moving forwards is knowing what to leave behind. And in Marvel Strike Force, that's absolutely true. Wasp and Ironheart weren't contributing to my roster right now, so instead of forcing resources into them, I left them behind. I focused on characters who will actually move my roster forwards. So what's the plan for October? Well, honestly, it's a little less exuberant than last month. I'm keeping things moderate just in case September wasn't a blip, but the start of a tighter economy. My October spend is budgeted at 192,143,970 golds worth of training materials. However, that will get me Hobgoblin, Superior Spider-Man and Zombie Kestrel built from level 1 to level 105. It will also allow me to build the reworks Elsa Bloodstone and Doctor Strange Heartless up from their current levels to level 105, and it will allow me to finish off my Undying team, taking the existing members who are sitting at level 100 up to level 105. But of course, there's still a lot more I want to do. I still have the Secret Warriors to build, and thanks to the data mines, massive shout out to Boylon's video, we know that they'll be usable in the next iteration of Battle World. We also got confirmation from Community Manager Pathfinder that the in-game Phantom Rider is Carter Slade, not Lincoln Slade. This was clarified back in September 2024 during the character vote alongside Hitmonkey. I just wish that they had included that detail in the official flavor text. Either way, it is going to make me more comfortable investing in them. And of course, there's the new Brimstone team. First priority for me is going to be Damon Hellstrom, who looks like he's going to be a powerhouse across multiple game modes, not just Alliance War. Not to mention that this team is also going to be needed for Battle World, which was also confirmed yesterday. So, did we get screwed this month when it comes to resources? I think the answer is a pretty clear yes, we did. And we've got the numbers to back it up. But this is exactly why we track everything here on Build Positively. When we know the data, we can adapt our strategies, keep playing smart, and stay up to date with the meta, all while staying completely free to play. Now, I want to hear from you, Commander. Do you think we got shortchanged on resources last month? And what have you been working on in your roster lately? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to chat more Marvel Strike Force or grab any of my infographics, come and hang out in the Jetson Squad Discord. Link, as always, is in the description down below. And if you're looking for specific team building help, then why not check out these videos right here.